I've sat with over 100 founders over the last few years, and I can usually find their number one constraint in 30 minutes. This is not because I'm some business genius. I just use a system. And today, I'm going to show you the exact same diagnostic process that I use so you can use it on your business. And I'll say this up front. Every business I've diagnosed has the same pattern. They're working hard on the wrong thing. So every organization has 6 systems: focus, strategy, cash, team, rhythms, and tools. Now, these systems may be healthy or not. So the first thing I do is I ask the founder to rank each of these 6 systems 1 to 5. So go ahead, do it for yourself. If you had to rank these 1 to 5, with 5 being the healthiest and 1 being the least healthy, in terms of how much tension it's causing you, what would you rank each of them? Now, once you have your number, this gives you, and it would give me, sort of a map of where the pain is. But let me tell you this. The pain is usually a symptom, not the cause. And that brings me to part 2. Part 2 is to find the cascade. The constraint is almost never just the system that has the lowest score. There's usually a system that's actually causing that other system to have a low score. For instance, maybe a founder tells me that focus is their problem. Their team just can't stay aligned and on the same page, so they rank that as a 1. But what we discover is that the real issue is actually tools. You see, the founder doesn't have a business plan. The vision just exists in their head, so every single Monday they just start chasing whatever feels urgent instead of following the plan. This is really not a focus issue, but it's a tools issue. Or maybe a founder tells me that cash is their biggest problem. Like, money is always running tight and they never have a financial cushion. But when we dig in, we realize the strategy is their actual issue. You see, maybe they haven't actually clarified their core offers, so every time a potential customer walks in, they say yes no matter what. Low margin offers, scope creep, and eventually they have no idea who they are. This isn't really a cash issue, it's a strategy issue. Or maybe a founder tells me that team is their issue. They're just not getting along, people are leaving, and they have high turnover. But when I dig in, rhythms is the real issue. There's no weekly tactical, there's no one-on-ones. The employees aren't checked out because they don't care. They're checked out because no one's checking in on them. This isn't actually a team issue, it's a rhythms issue. I call this the constraint cascade. You fix the one root issue, and there's probably going to be 3 to 4 other issues that fix themselves because you fixed the main issue. Your biggest problem is almost never the real problem. It's a symptom of the problem that you can't see yet. The third step is to ID the constraint. Now I ask one question. If we could fix only one problem in the next 90 days, which one would produce the highest leverage for the organization? Now, this is not necessarily the easiest fix. In fact, it's almost always the hardest fix, but it's the highest leverage fix. This is the one fix that unblocks everything else. I can think of an example of a business owner that I helped. They walked in thinking they had a team issue. They're turning over employees and they couldn't figure out how to keep everyone in the door. But what we realized is they actually did not have a team issue. Their problem is that their prices were too low. That was a strategic issue. They weren't engaging the market well. So what they did is they raised their prices so they could pay their employees more. Lo and behold, people started sticking around. They didn't actually have a team problem. They had a strategy problem. Once you can ID that, spend 90 days to fix it, then it's gonna fix all the other cascading problems on its own. And finally, step 4 is build a 90-day focus. Once I know the constraint, I just build a 90-day plan to help the business owner solve that problem. Not 5 goals, not 10 action items, just one constraint across 1 quarter. Clarity is such an advantage. Once you know the main thing and you keep it the main thing, you end up going so much faster because you lose sight of everything else that's gonna distract you. So here's the pattern that I see over and over. After helping a ton of business owners identify their main constraint, there's some patterns that started to pop up. Under 500,000 in revenue, the number one constraint is usually focus or strategy. Under 2 million in revenue, the constraint is usually team or even the founder themselves. Under 5 million in revenue, the constraint is usually rhythms or tools. And under 20 million, the constraint usually moves toward leadership depth. But the number one constraint is always going to vary. And that's why you don't guess. You go through system by system to figure out where the tension is and then walk through the steps. Now, you can run through this entire process right now by taking the free Executive Flow assessment. In 4 minutes, 18 questions, you'll get an instant result that tells you what your number one constraint is. Now, if you want to walk through it after to figure out where the cascading issues are, then you can book a free 25-minute call with me where we can look at your results together.